trader on a rare good roots, but Tommy was a pirate looking for some hoots. And all of that resulted in some jettison loot, but a smuggler NPC done scooped it up. Well, Harry was a troll and had a real good time, interdicting people and committing crimes. But Skelly hunted bounties and he took off Harry's panties and inserted all his missiles in his butt. Because space is dangerous, GalNet has enabled us to all become elite and engineer. The grind has taken us, the salt is also cancerous. Won't the Thargoids take me out of here? It's a few rat thing, and this shit was a minor cause he likes it boring. They do what others can't because they watch Obsidian. But what do they both think of power play? Well, Winters is a pussy and Hudson is a prick, and then Denton's fucking goats with old Lavinia's dick. Mahomes kinda chubby and Hastings kinda hot. The Asian guy's alright, but the other two are not. Because space is dangerous, GalNet has enabled us to all become elite and engineer. The grind has taken us, the salt is also cancerous. Won't the Thargoids take me out of here? brave ships and brave folk from centuries ago strive to find more in the night before they could jump, yeah, before space got small. The only way there was to take your time, take a generation, build a shrine to your generation, make your way between the stars, and hope that your children will care for your soul. Achilles was lost to those dangerous computers. Artemis just had one sight. Atlas abandoned except for one poor soul. Demeter turned tribal with no food. Went cannibal, the fighting kept on till they died. Epimetheus had a thief left alone. His writings recorded as proof. Hyperion had its own a second coming. Zechariah, he told them his truth and invented their souls. Take your time, take a generation, build a shrine to your generation, make your way between the stars, and hope that your children will care for your souls. Like a young color virus so dark from an asteroid, medicine cannot save their lives. Odysseus got ill, but they couldn't find the will. Just leave their birthplace and turn to their dark place, and no one was left in life. Phineas was lied to, then the secret got out. The factions got lost in the fight. Phobos found Eden, but it just left them bleeding. As aliens ate them and finally followed them into their ships and they died. Spirit hope gone, fetus got a message and everyone started killing. Phoenician head raiders, raiders in red, and the deacon did betray them. Lazarus didn't have enough votes for all the poor souls to depart on. Golconda had a viral infection, reached out for help from the modern mankind. Take your time, take a generation, build a shrine to your generation, make your way between the stars, and hope that your children will care for your souls. Take your time, take a generation, build a shrine to your generation, make your way between the stars, and hope that your children will care for your soul. barriers and the carriers, can they take the seed of a new world? Wishing on a star, we'll make this journey together. Wishing on a star, our only hope is together. When the story flows and the bubble goes, will command us, wish for a new world. Can the convoy fly and the whole rats try to keep the fleet from destruction? Wishing on a star, we'll make this journey together. Wishing on a star, our only hope is together. Nothing's gonna change or stop the fight between us, even on the edge of the night. Come and go can link, 'cause someone's gonna gank us, but we all yeah. Wishing on a star, we'll make this journey together. Wishing on a star, our only hope is together. One big jump into the unknown, working hard to keep the seed of humanity growing. Nothing's gonna change or stop the fight between us, even on the edge of the night. Come and go can link, 'cause someone's gonna gank us, but we all yeah. Wishing on a star, we'll make this journey together. Wishing on a star, our only hope is together.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous,
and the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 536 of Lave Radio, the show about the universe of Elite Dangerous and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit, otherwise known as Claire.
Hello.
We have our SRV Banksy, Commander Alec Turner.
Remember episode 336 like it was
Jesus
yesterday.
Christ. I don't.
Evening all.
And of course we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Edelweiss, otherwise known as Ben Moss-Woodward.
Yeah, I wish it was only 336 I remembered.
I can't even remember what that one was now. I'm going to have to look it up.
I'm going to have to look it up. Yeah.
I guarantee you it was awful.
Oi! See, weren't you with us back then?
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
Also joining us, our very special guest for the evening, we have Commander Chuck Handgun, otherwise known as Arthur Tolmie.
Hello, thanks for having me. Great to be back.
Nice for you to be back for the last time, probably.
Don't start me off emotionally, but yes.
So, if you wish, you can join us live. We're hanging out in Game and Open with the Chris Mark IV Lave Station. Ben's doing stuff as well. But if you can't get to us in game, you can also join the Twitch chat channel. Hello to Twitch, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or you can go straight to twitch.tv/Lave Radio, or look up Lave Radio on YouTube, because we're there as well, but we can't talk to you. Right, so we're going to be very quick here with a catch-up to the crew, and then we'll be talking to Arf. So, Claire, what have you been up to?
Oh, literally nothing. About a few weeks ago, I was having a very, very lovely lunch in Cambridge, and I got talking with a friend of mine about Mass Effect for ages, and it really made me want to play Mass Effect again. So after a little hiatus, I'm playing Mass Effect again. I'm also playing all of the sci-fi update on Planet Coaster, which is absolutely brilliant, and taking part in CGs in Elite. That's been my week. I've done nothing else.
Okay, we'll go on to Commander Alec Turner.
Then we've got to be quick because I could talk for hours about. I've been looking to buy a sofa. So yeah, I won't though. Don't panic. In game, I just wanted to say one amusing thing. So I've been doing the CG, and I got a bit bored of delivering stuff this morning. Was it this morning or yesterday morning? So I suddenly realised I could turn all the holo ads to Pranav Antal yellow, and there's 10 of them, which is awesome. So I turned all 10 holo ads outside the delivery station, Pranav Antal yellow, and then somebody killed me. And my immediate reaction was, oh, bloody griefer. And then I realised it was somebody power playing. So it was good. I had a proper bit of sort of PvP power play related action, and it was a laugh. And then I came back in my shieldless delivery ship, and then I flew it inside the trenches of the Coriolis. This guy was trying to pick at me through the gaps in between the trenches for about 10 minutes until he got me. It was really good fun.
What delivery ship are you using?
It was a T8.
Nice.
I'm impressed that you flew that in the trenches.
Yeah, shieldless Type 8, and I survived a good...
trenches.
I am impressed.
Yeah, it would have been very impressive if it was my cutter, but no, it was a Type 8.
Oh, I need to see a video of you doing it in the cutter, Alec.
It has been done. Skur's done it.
Oh, has he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why does that not surprise me?
Anyway, that'll do. Enough about me.
Ben?
Yeah, I went to a car show with my son. So that was fun. We saw Batmobiles, Transformers.
Nice.
Ghostbusters things, and some very, very nice cars, and an absolutely awesome 3-wheel car, motorbike, whatever you want to call it. But it started out life as some old Ford engine.
Nice.
And in-game, the only thing I've been able to actually play is I'm still pushing through Final Fantasy 15. And I think I might eventually be getting close to getting on the boat. But then Colin went off and said, oh, no, before you do that, you've got to go do the DLC, Ben.
Only one of them.
Wow.
Only one of them. It still took up my evening. That was still my gameplay time.
Sorry.
It's all right. I mean, I enjoyed going off and doing the DLC, but I was like, I want to get on the boat and finish this.
Well, you can go on the boat now after the show.
I've got a radio show to do.
It's all right, Ben. It's all right, Ben. Off you pop.
Yeah, I'm bugging you. I'm off. Bye.
Relax, Ben. Jeez.
Hey, I've got pot noodles to eat or something with it.
Yeah, you've been on the cup noodles too much. All right. Personally, just churning through whatever I can do at the moment. Personally,
Churchill said, you know what Churchill said, Colin? If you're going through hell, keep going.
Yes, hopefully I'll come out the end, the other side of it eventually. In game,
I thought Churchill says, "Oh yes."
He said a lot of things.
Yeah,
the other Churchill.
Oh, that one.
Not the nodding dog.
and in game, yes, I have put my cape on for the CG. I have caped so much. I'm in the top 25% now. I am caping for the ultimates because I'm that close to getting a fleet carrier. I can taste it, but
it will absolutely change the way that you play the game, Colin. I guarantee it. I'm so excited for you to get a fleet carrier.
if it can sort out my problems with the colonization, then that'd be great. Right. So that just leaves Arf. What have you been up to this week?
It's been a busy week, actually. There's a lot of stuff going on at Frontier Towers. I can't talk about some stuff, but I think by next week you'll know what's been going on. So it's just been very busy, really, for me. Just chilling out when I get home sort of late and kind of getting ready to sort of hand over and go, I guess. That's been kind of what I'm doing.
Right. Well, because Arthur's here, we have decided to really shake up the format. So if you're expecting the usual development news, community news, all that kind of stuff, that's out of the window, rather. So the only thing we can say is obviously on the 29th, there was R's final FU to us all. Frontier Unlocked for all those who are concerned. So yes, and we will be talking about what they talked about in Vanguards and Squadrons, or Squadrons version 2 as I call it. That we'll talk about in a future show. So if you're tuning in for that, what's wrong with you? We've got off. Yeah. So I'm going to hand over to Psychic here for these questions.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, pals. Right. So if you haven't noticed, we have Arthur on the show. Hello, Arthur. How you doing, pal? It's good to have you here.
I was fine until you told me you had a load of questions for me, and then I got a bit nervous.
So we ask a question of the week every week. We've been doing it for probably not since episode 336, but maybe around that sort of time. But we ask a question of the week, and we get people from the community sort of like are giving us questions. And it felt like the best time, given the fact that you're popping off, to ask the community if they've got any questions for you. I have obviously very heavily moderated them, and it's very understandably that you might not be able to answer some of these questions. I don't think there are any, but I will start. I will start with a very, very important question from Spherelance, who asked, you did a Frontier Unlocked in those shorts, and the next thing we hear is that you're leaving. Is there any link to that?
I think that it wasn't so much the shorts, but I think it was the colour of the shorts. It made me look like I was naked from the waist down, and I think that may have led to some consternation from on high. And they were like, "You shouldn't be doing that naked." And I was like, "I wasn't naked. I was wearing a tank." And my knobbly knees were not a favourite.
Fair. I mean, that's probably that makes sense. That makes sense. I'll move on to a more serious question before we go anywhere else. And I love this question from Katie, who asked, from your first Elite podcast appearance on Flight Assist to all of the conventions and community events you've attended, and now your probably last Elite podcast with Lave Radio as a Frontier community manager, what has been the standout Elite community moment that you've been involved in?
Wow. Well, I need to think about this carefully because it's been a lot. Do you know what? I don't know, actually. I think meeting people was always what I like doing the most. Blimey, can I come back? Can I think about this and come back? I don't want to rush
100%. 100%. I tell you what might be a little bit of fun is if we ask, and this might be a little bit saccharine, so bear with me, but if we just sort of like ask the boys as well, and it might give you a bit of an idea. My personal favourite moment of like community was the Christmas party that was like in June.
Yes. Yeah.
The Christmas party that was in June. Right. It was postponed because of COVID. That's right, isn't it? And then we got to a thing in COVID and like after COVID, and it was like upstairs, and it was just nonsense and really, really fun. And it was just like getting that community back together for the first time. That is a very poignant moment for me.
The microphone didn't work. I had to shout rather than the microphone, and I lost my voice. Well, I didn't lose my voice, but it didn't help my voice at all. That was fun. Yeah, that was a very fun night. Yeah.
One of the first times that my husband said to me, "I won't get drunk," and then the next time I saw him, he was looking in two different directions because he'd been walking around just like people going, "Oh, I'm getting the bodge." What about you, Colin?
Right, yeah.
Mind? Well, it's every time I've managed to drag Arthur onto the Elite Miniatures table. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, he's very good at it.
In fairness, I did used to play a lot of X-Wing.
Yes.
So I was familiar with how the mechanics work. I'm also, am I allowed to swear in a podcast?
Yes, you are allowed to swear on this podcast.
So I kind of worked out what people were doing, and I think the first game I had a bit of an advantage. I think it was protecting an asp, if I remember rightly, and I just knew how to get around what people were going to do. So that was fun. It was fun. I'm also loving the chieftain card that you've put in the chat there. I don't know if you're showing those or not, but that's very sweet.
Oh yeah. There's more of that to come. It's quite funny because Arthur is basically the Elite Miniatures champion at the moment. Every game he's played, he's won, which is
feels like insider trading to some extent.
I don't have the powers, all right. To be very good at it.
If you know X-Wing, which Arthur does, then you are at an advantage because that's the original game it was based on. But he was still outnumbered, I think, 6-1 in one match, and still wiped the floor of them.
I don't like to brag, but
although the fact that one ship crashed into the other when trying to get him was comedy gold. So so that's me.
What about you, Alec?
Because it's my freshest memory, I think I'm going to go with Arthur's fantastic attempt at Strictly Come Bearing. I think he was robbed, mate. I mean, the scarf clinched it.
I think there was some. I think Psychic was definitely against me.
God. Shit.
I think otherwise, I actually nailed it. I mean, I was bang on.
It was great, but I couldn't be seen to show favoritism.
The worst part of it was my competitive nature came out, because when I got asked by the bird sort of midway through the day, I was like, "Oh, I need to think of a shtick." So I was like, "Right, I need to make a scarf out of the blue toweling." And so I'm just too competitive. I think that's not a trait I should admit to, but I'm pretty competitive, and I was very upset that I got such a low score, Psychic. Very upset.
Listen. I just saw a pebble and I picked it up. That's the worst thing to say. What about you, Ben?
I think I've only met Arth once or twice, but I remember we did the Pictionary kind of thing at LaveCon.
Oh yes, yeah.
And
Darren made the really unfortunate start of a Ethan.
Yes.
Yeah. The PR part of me started to sweat profusely when he started drawing that. I was like,
yeah.
My God, Darren, what are you drawing?
Has anything come to mind, Arthur?
Do you know what? Well, in fact, it's going to sound cliche. It's difficult to pick one. I think meeting the community has always been fun for me, and it's just how much. Do you know what it is? It's when you meet people and you see how much the game means to them. That's what affects me the most. And we've had some very sweet messages, sort of in person. I mean, and like when you were just saying there, stuff like the belated Christmas party, that was great. There's lots of memories I have from various like ECM or be it at PitCon or stuff where I've met people, or like one of the first things I did was like a dinner with the devs, like just after COVID, I think. And just meeting people for me has been the most important part of my job. There have been some really fun memories, and there's been some really fun times and silly stuff that we've done. I've actually just really enjoyed having a drink and spending time in the community. I think just to let people know that, you know, we're the same. We are the same. Like as much as sometimes like where I'm wearing the FDev uniform, yeah, I work for a company, but ultimately I'm an Elite player and I love Elite, so we can just chat and have our conversations. I did enjoy working with puppets. That was fun. That whole skit made me laugh, especially around the Panther Clipper, the box and the tubes. Because like, if only you knew then what we know. It did make me chuckle.
It was very foreshadowing. Talking like about foreshadowing. Don't worry. Buxton has asked a very interesting question, asking how far in advance are you guys aware of upcoming features that are being added to the game?
Oh, okay. Am I going to get in trouble? I'm leaving, so no.
Yeah, fine.
The team and I have worked out the next 2 years.
Okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Tell you what, I won't tell you how many features that is. Whatever, I will tell you that they're planning in advance. So, and it's important that they plan in advance. So they're looking at stuff.
That's a relief to hear, because every January we all go, "Oh God, is we going to hear it? Is this going to be it?" Before the big announcement seems to happen the end of the.
Not me talking specifically about Elite, but I think when you look at a live service game like Elite Dangerous, look a little bit further ahead, or you should look a little bit further ahead, and then work backwards, right? So where do you want to be in X amount of time, and work backwards from there. So I think the team are doing that, and as much as I know what I know. Things may change, obviously, because I won't be here when. Not saying that because I'm not here, things will change, but I won't know what they're doing or where they're shifting focus, etc., etc. But they have a plan, and it's a really cool plan, and the guys are on it. I'll say this much: like when you work with a team like the development team that are on Elite, you'll never work with. It's not just a job for those guys and girls that are working on Elite. And if you met any of them that came to PitCon. you'll know that like they genuinely care about Elite. Like they genuinely in their bones care about Elite. Like they love the game. They want to see it do well. So they're always thinking about some cool stuff. So I don't think I've ever worked with a core group of devs that have been that into the product that the team that are on Elite. So they really care.
Yeah, there was a question about that I genuinely don't believe that I've included, but it was like how the devs feel about the game. So I'm happy to know that there is such a. It's such a cliche question that the devs don't care about the game. Like we see it all the time. Well, we did used to see it quite a while ago before we started getting like multiple ships in a year and things like that. We did used to see a fair amount of the devs don't care about the game. So it's not just nice to sort of like see it actually happening, that there is stuff that's going into the game, but also like hearing it from people.
I think also any of us can answer that question, and anyone that's been to LaveCon or ECM and met you guys when you turn up. You know, whenever I see that kind of comment on the forum, I'm not mad, or I just think I wish you could meet these guys, and then suddenly you will. You know, it's so valuable seeing you guys at conventions. I think. Yeah, it seems stupid because you're obviously just human. And you know what it's like. You know, you send emails to people and you're cross, and the minute you talk to a customer, it all falls away, and you go, "Oh God, you're human," and we can just have and it just makes so much difference. I think to.
It's the weird thing about actually we are actually quite lucky and quite blessed with the Elite community, because there's I don't mean this in a disparaging way to other communities, but they have a better understanding how game dev works. I think Elite community, so we do have a little bit of a leeway there, but I think. When you're looking at a product like Elite Dangerous and what it is and the amount of players that are involved in it and all the systems, it's akin to like an oil tanker, and turning that oil tanker in a different direction does not happen overnight. You have to. It's a precise and considered turn, and it takes time to turn it. So it's not as easy as just press the button and it's done. There's lots of stuff for the team to consider, and then it's always you have to be thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead of where, like, I was going back to what I just said, like, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
In a year's time, 2 years' time, and how do you get there now by turning it like 4 degrees this way? That's a terrible analogy. I should never do these, but it's a behemoth. It's a great big product with lots of moving pieces, and it's great to see the journey that it's on now. Like really, really cool to see what Elite's doing now.
It's been obvious that David Braben, obviously, and Ian Bell back in the day spawned a load of geeks. And funnily enough, we all joined in when Elite Dangerous came around.
Yeah. Some of us didn't know anything about that and joined a lot later when they were forced into it.
Some of us did. There is a lot of nerds here.
There's no denying that there's a lot of old computer nerds here.
There's one or two in this very room, yes.
Sorry, do you know why I think our audience is that way though? Because I think David and Ian showed what could be done.
Exactly.
And I think they inspired a lot of people, like to show
they really did.
The original Elite on the BBC and as much, it wasn't a 1-to-1 scale of the galaxy, but it was so far removed from anything ever been
so
done
ahead
before.
Of its time.
Yeah. I think that is what spawned that particular community. It was like, here's what you can do, and it made people want to do more and investigate what is possible. So it's unique in that sense.
Certainly true in my case.
It was obvious that with yourself, Arthur, I think we all know that you were a trucker before you joined Frontier.
Yep. Yeah, a long time ago. Long time ago.
We all know, no one can pretend that you didn't, and I'm assuming don't play sorry. No one can say that you didn't and don't play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
I said I joined Frontier specifically because of Elite. I was at another company at the time. I'd just been offered a promotion, and this particular role came up, and I was like, the chance to work in a game that I so deeply loved. When I leave, when I'm finally gone, I'll send you some links to some terrible, terrible YouTube videos I did.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be playing that on stream all the time.
The only one I can find is the Thargoid. When I first encountered the Thargoid, and I tried for so long when the Thargoids first were introduced or first sort of interacted with humans. I had my own business, and I would sit at my desk for hours on end in the rope system, desperately trying to be interdicted because that's what they were at the time. And I could not be interdicted. And I was trying to convince everybody walked into the business. I was like, I'm telling you, this game's great, and here's what happens. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's any minute now, I'm going to be interdicted. Never.
Here it comes. Next jump for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
That absolutely mirrors what I did. I jumped from Mysteropy to Merope on and on again until I got hyperdicted.
Same.
Yeah.
Can I segue? Unless you want to do,
you go for it.
I know it's the question that I think segues on what we were just talking about. So Datanode asks, do you still play Elite? I suspect the answer is obvious, but anyway, do you still play Elite, and has working at Frontier changed the way you play the game?
So yes, I play Elite. Yes, it has. So I get so much less time to play Elite as a player. So I do jump on every now and again, but my spare time in the role that I have is, and it sounds like, I'm not saying worries me, but it's very limited. And Elite is a game where I like to play for a good few hours in a span, rather than I can't jump on for Elite for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's that sort of game, really.
Yeah. So
let's face it, it's 9 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, and you're working essentially, not playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, but also not sorry. Like, I'm still within the Elite universe, so I'm very, very happy. But I also, it hasn't made me sad, because I get to see so much more and have such a hand in so much more of Elite than I would just playing. So I get to do the cool stuff. Like, I got to do the Last Titan. I remember waking up early morning. And my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I've got to be. I have to be here."
We all had to do that.
I have to be here. I have to be here. And I got the world's most terrible screenshot, but I was like, I don't care. I was here. I was still there when that last time went from over Earth. It was great,
were you not tempted to just sort of go, "Oh, give it a little bit more health"?
No.
Let's have a lie.
No, the thing that I love about the whole, sorry if I'm going to ramble here, but the thing about the Thargoid War is I love how the whole team slow played that from such a long way away. And I still remember after HRP 22460, which I remember I was going to my wedding venue to actually look at my wife was like, "We're supposed to be doing wine tasting," and I was just on my phone constantly being like, please work, please make this work. And when obviously the whole the salvation thing went off, and the bomb went off, and lo and behold, surprise, it didn't go to plan, and everybody was back in the system in this battle. And I almost, and this is true, I don't mind saying, I almost shed a tear, because it was so much work had gone in by the team to make that happen. And then after it finished, I remember, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days later, we'd already launched the Titans. Had gone. They were already on their way, so they were already moving through systems. And someone tweeted saying, "Oh, we've done this now, and nothing's happened." And I remember tweeting Palpatine gif, just being like, "It was the Palpatine, my favorite one, which is the Palpatine head turned to camera." And I was like, "If you think nothing's happened since then, you're very sorely mistaken." But just seeing that whole process through from start to finish. And I think I may have even tweeted you, Psychic, when the first time was destroyed.
Yeah.
And I had my whiskey and my cigar ready. And having seen it demoed and seeing what was going to happen, that's one thing. Seeing it in the wild and hoping, and you do as best you can do to make sure that everything's going to work. But then watching it happen, honestly, that is a career highlight for me. I will never. That's probably the greatest highlight for me ever at Frontier.
Beautiful. Yeah, it was
good. That answers quite a few questions.
Long, rambly segue. I do apologize.
No, absolutely.
As a player, sorry, Klaus, as a player, that was an incredible moment.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it must have been like for you guys, with the tension of knowing what was supposed to happen and hoping. Yeah, I totally get that. Amazing.
Are you looking forward to being able to play the game without being behind the curtain anymore?
Yeah.
That's from Little Big Game.
Yes. Yes, I am. One of the things I've said to my wife is I will have to hand back, because I've been cheap. I've been using the work PC, which is quite a beast. But I have to hand that back. So I'm like, I need a new PC, and my wife's like, why? And I'm like, oh, for work purposes. But realistically, it's for Elite. I've got a VR headset and stuff like that, so I'll be doing Elite and VR and all that sort of jazz.
Amazing, cool.
Very, 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 very excited to get back and just enjoying what's to come.
Yeah. How long have you been with Frontier? It's what, 5 years? A bit longer than that?
Yeah, just over 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, going back 5 years to when you started, Daisy Bell asks, are there any memorable moments from those first few weeks when you started working at Frontier?
Oh, blimey, yeah, there is, because I joined the day that Fleet Carriers launched.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That was my first day at Frontier. So I joined when Fleet Carriers launched, and it wasn't the smoothest launch, just to say, we never always got it right. It was interesting to watch the team, to see how they sort of reacted and engaged with what was going on. It was very interesting for me to come into Elite as a player with the preconception of what Elite is and what's going on, and seeing how I hate this term, but how the sausage is made, and then you see it and you're like, oh, okay, and then learning and seeing the opportunity of what Elite presented, and I was like, there's so much here we can do. There's so much here that could be done. Because when I joined, there was no GalNet, there was no story, it was kind of bare bones, if I'm being brutally honest. And I was like, this is me. This gives me a hill to die on.
Yeah. So did you? Mixelplix asks, did you at that point go, I can see Elite being what it is now, or is it what you expected in your 5 years tenure?
So I don't know. I'm probably going to get in loads of trouble for this, but I'm
so excited.
But I wrote out a very much like, because it was 5 years ago. I wrote out very much like an MCU version of Elite Dangerous over so many years of what the different phases were. And I'm not going to tell you what all the phases were. And I did promise the Birds this, actually, and I haven't actually delivered to them. I will show them the actual PowerPoint, or the still of that image from that PowerPoint. Every phase of that, in fact, pretty much all of them, if you count colonization, I guess all of them have now come to pass. I was like, here's what you need to do with Elite. And it's like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. I think stage 3 and 4 have switched around.
Right.
But yeah, there was like Elite has got so much potential, and always has, and always will have potential, because it's really what the players do. And I've joked about it in the past and said, like, we make stuff and we have an idea what players are going to do, and you do the exact opposite to what we think you're going to do. But yeah, when I joined, we're kind of where I wanted us to be. If I'm being totally honest, I'm very happy where we are right now, because. And it goes back to the previous comment. Elite it's an oil tanker, right? You don't turn it around in a year or 2 years. It takes quite a bit of planning, and when I say that, that's not me saying I'm planning it. That's the whole team working together, unified, to say, hey, we have an objective. We know what we want to do. We know what we want to achieve. To get there, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And that whole team, like Hermance, Roger, Simon, who's been there from day one. Chris, Piers, Gautier, like all of those guys and girls that work in Elite, like they are committed to that product. And that's just me talking about devs. Forget like the amount of work that Zach puts in. And I feel for Zach, because I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. Like, he puts in so much effort. He genuinely cares about Elite. Like, he loves it. Like, he joined my team as a CM. He's going to be a product manager, and it couldn't be in safer hands than it is with Zach.
That's really good. That's really good to know. It's really, really good to know. Is there anything you didn't get to do that you really would have loved to do that comes from Beetlejuice?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. I can't tell you what it is.
Can't tell us what it is.
There was something you mentioned the other day up in Cambridge about an April Fool's joke. Can you share that or no?
Oh, blimey, I forgot what it was. Which one? No, I probably can share. What was the April Fool's?
It was about the Ask Scout. Nothing.
Oh,
wanted to...
yeah. So that's one thing. So what I wanted to do for the Ask Scout is I wanted to, for April Fool's, just max out every stat on the Ask Scout for the 3 players, and then be like, "This is the greatest ship in the game," and then just turn it off, and then just turn it off again. And they'd be like, "What? This ship is terrible," and then leave it for like 3 weeks, and then turn it on again, and they just really mess with that phone for a little while. But that's too much. There is something I really wanted to do. And in fairness, and it's right that we didn't do it because it didn't really fit with the lore. And it's to do with the whole Salvation storyline. And I wanted to destroy space stations. I wanted them to be sucked into witch space. That's what I wanted to happen. Can't tell you how or why, but I wanted there to be a reason for this to happen. It transpired into like the EMP device that Salvation launched, but I really wanted to. I'm a terrible person. If you ask me what I wanted to do, I wanted to burn Colonia. I was like, just burn it.
I think a lot of us wanted to just burn the whole bubble. I was rooting for the Thargoids when they were in Earth. I was really hoping Earth was going to burn.
It was not done for the right reasons, if that makes sense. So they made the right choice, and there's so much more they've got planned going forward, which is why, again, they're thinking, way ahead of that the instant gratification. They're thinking about, well, actually, if we don't do that, we can do this in X amount of months time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they made the right decision. But there's loads of stuff I would love to have done.
Zebedelia echoes what Jude asked, and in a similar way, but saying, is there anything in Elite that's in Elite at the moment that you wish you could change?
Oh, blimey. Yeah, there's a couple of things. I don't want to say too much because I think the team are working on quite a few things at the moment. But and again,
like I've got a bug fix list.
You know what? Outside of bug fixing, I think the thing I want us to do better is onboarding new players. I think that's the thing that is Elite's. It's kind of its best quality and its worst quality. Some players will come into Elite, and they'll bounce off it immediately. But also, it's the best quality. If you stick with it and you make it through, then you're also like, it's kind of like earning your wings. But for a live service title, what I'd much rather happen is to let you earn your wings in a different way. But I want players to come in and really understand what Elite is, or have a clearer progression of where they need to go once they start. Because I remember I've probably bored you with this story before. I had to buy Elite Dangerous 3 times, and I generally did. I bought it on when it first came out. I kickstarted it, then I got it on Steam, and then I bought it on console. It was only the third time when I bought it, I actually finally started to understand what I was doing, because I just didn't really get into Elite, and I bounced off it 3 times. But I wanted to get into it. I had a real desire to get into Elite. So if we could do that better, and the whole team want to do that better, then yeah, I think that'd be a great start.
That's really good. That's really cool.
That's a much better answer than maxing out the chieftain sliders.
I mean, both of them have two different
things. I picked the windscreen on a chieftain, right? It's made out of paper. Can we just not? If it's out of can we just not? One boop and it's back.
Neil Wiley did ask that. Are you absolutely certain that the chieftain's your favourite? That was the question that came across. Katie asks again, as a diehard Elite Dangerous fan, I think there's no argument from anyone here that that's the case. But she says, what has been your biggest sort of like pinch me moment while you've been?
Oh, it's 100% the first Titan. Being destroyed. 100%. I didn't know if we could top HRP 22460 only because I know a lot of the team that I work very closely with, and I was a big part of this whole narrative, the Thargoid narrative. It was a lot of people. I want to shout out to Ben Hennessy. That did a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff that went into getting us as far as HRP 22460. Seeing that take place, I remember watching the player kill count just skyrocket after the battle, because Thargoids came in, the Guardian modules were all funky and stuff like that, and we were like, how do we top this? And I remember Piers being a big part of it, being like, how does it happen? But that was great, but we kind of took players out of the game. How do we do that but keep them in the game? And I can't tell you whatever wizardry they used to make that happen, to make the Titans that moment be such a moment. And then shout out to Dave and all the people that were like, the last Titan, what does it do? And I remember us all talking, saying, like, I think players are waiting for us to do a big old switcheroo, like the Titan just goes away and it may return. No one really expected it to go to Earth. And we were like, what better way to end this finale than the Titan just goes straight for Earth and watch players just just go for it and have at it and leave.
It's leaning in, isn't it? Lean into that trope of like the final battle of Earth. It's great.
And if you listen really carefully to some of the dialogue in the teaser assets that went out for the final Titan, you can hear a lot of past and present Elite devs, CMs in the radio chatter that are screaming and calling for help. They're all in there because it's everyone, whether they're on the project or not, still loves Elite.
No, I really like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Going to listen to that.
What part of the last 5 years do you feel has been the most professionally challenging for you? That comes from Profane Pagan.
Launch of Odyssey.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah, well, look, it didn't go how we wanted it to go. It was a very, very difficult launch for a multitude of reasons, and it really affected Elite, like as a whole. To forget Odyssey as a product, it affected Elite massively. So that was the most challenging aspect that I had to deal with. Not just the work side of it, but also I guess from the team and even the dev side of it, understanding the players' frustrations. But some of those boiled over into some I would class as maybe a little bit too extreme feedback that we were getting. And this, it's water under the bridge now, and I'm not going to go over it too much. But when people are seeking,
you're very much Daddy Arf.
Never say that. Never ever say that.
Another person to add to the list of people who've told Ben never to say things ever again.
But it was very difficult. I will share some to give you an idea. I'm well aware that the anger and the frustration that it caused was probably deserved, and we all knew that, and we wanted to fix it. But again, fixing it was no easy task. There was a lot to do.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that came through to myself and the team was I would say over the mark. They were reaching out to people that were friends of mine. They reached out to my she wasn't my wife then, but my partner via different mediums to talk about me to them and all that sort of stuff. And I get it, and I understand how Elite was passionate. But that was difficult for me for multiple.
That's wild, yeah.
I had to measure I understood. I got it. I firmly understood why people were upset and why they were frustrated. So I got that part of it. And being one of those players, I was like, I get it. It resonates with me. And then the professional of it, but that's this part of it's not acceptable. But how do I work this through? And how do I pull this all together? And how do we communicate this? And how do I work with various different moving parts? That was very, very challenging. And it wasn't like a short window. That took probably 18 months to work through, to get on an even kill. I wouldn't say to be better. It took about 18 months to get on an even kill.
Yeah, I do feel that sort of when it goes over to the point where, being passionate about a project is one thing, but then when it goes over to the point where something's gone wrong, yet people are taking it outside the professional realm and making it personal, that is definitely the
so many comments we just not on.
Yeah.
I myself have expressed outrage when Claire suggested that this is just a game, but there does come a point when you do have to remind yourself it is just a game.
It's a fucking game, boys.
No.
And I'm suddenly the one who's told that they need to calm down.
But I get it. I think we understood. Like, a lot of people play the game a lot of hours every day, and when you break that mechanic, that's a big upheaval for a lot of people, and not any other reason. Like that is something that people go to. Like, it's escapism. It's great. You socialize via it, and when you break that, we understand. Like, and I understood it. I got it. I knew straight away. I was like, yeah, this is frustrating. So yeah, that was probably the most challenging time in my career, without a doubt.
What do you consider is the heart of Elite Dangerous, and how do community cool? How do you feel that Frontier strikes a balance between staying true to that heart and then expanding the game with new mechanics and updates? It's a great question from Audio Jack.
Yeah, it's you know what, it's difficult. We've got better at it, and I think seeing, and I know there was some consternation around putting ships in for arcs first as a prepaid, but actually I think again this is where we're kind of blessed with our audience because they understand how game dev works and also how business operates. I think we've managed to get that just about right in terms of understand what players want. I mean, when I joined, I was like, blimey, it's been a while since we released Spaceship and we're a spaceship game. It's like, should we not go back to doing some spaceships? But it's understanding that, there's what do players want, what are players asking about, what are key features, and then what are quality of life stuff. So the engineering stuff, Piers was on that straight away. We weren't trying to sell that as something. We were like, that is something our players want. It's something that our players need to make the game better and more enjoyable. And then when we're doing stuff like we sell ships for arcs and stuff like that, and obviously we're doing microtransactions, that allows us then to develop other features that are purely for the players to engage with. So they can Power Play. We've gone back and revisited Power Play and said, hey, look, we made a first stab at it. It didn't really work. Power Play 2.0 is better. It's not perfect, but it's better. And we do the same with Vanguards and what we're doing with Squadrons. Squadrons, the idea was there, but it wasn't really fleshed out. Squadrons, or what we're doing with Vanguards, is a lot better. So there is a balance, but the heart is always a community. You have to listen to what people are talking about, but you also have to listen to what the people are talking about, not the vocal people are talking about. You have to really check about what are the players actually saying, not the 10, 15, 20 people with the loudest voice saying.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's genuinely wonderful to hear. What aspect? And I mean, this might stretch further than just Elite, because I know you've worked for other companies in the past. But since you started working in games, what aspect of game development have you found most surprising? That comes from Trigon.
Ooh, good question. What I found most surprising? Do you know what? It's hard to pin down one thing. I think what it is me going from not working with or liaising with any game dev to just how difficult it is to make the smallest change. It's not as easy as you think. So I would be like, oh, just do this. And they look at me like, what? And I'm like, what? That colour from green to blue. And do you understand what systems are involved in this? And I'm like, nope. And I think has been the biggest and the most challenging thing to really communicate, because I don't think players, and they shouldn't care. They shouldn't care, right? And I mean this in the nicest way. If you've paid your money, you just want a service and you want your product to be the way the product is. But changing something from A to B is not as easy as it on the surface looks like it should be. I think that's been the most surprising thing learning about game dev.
Okay.
As they've been saying in the chat room, how hard can it be?
How hard can it be? That's our favourite thing. Yeah. It can't be that difficult to do all of these things.
It's the phrase that I've coined, because I'm notorious for doing it when we have our talks about Elite and so on, and I'm like, where's the just do it button? I'm just like, press that, just change it over. Because I'm awful for feature creeping. We have an idea and I'm like, oh, we could do this and we could do that, and they're like looking at me and they're like, oh, shut up. And I'm like, wow, just voicing it.
Some people have, speaking of making people aware of how things work, but some people have suggested that it feels like the move to more group focused activities has been a long time coming. Is there any reason that this move has happened now?
I think again, not necessarily a specific reason. I think we've all, certainly in my tenure, we understood that. Again, I go back to community is for any game like Elite, community is its core, and understanding that getting players together and getting players to engage with each other it's primarily what makes that game survive and thrive. So the more we can do to get players to work together, engage with each other, help each other, specifically stuff like someone's new to the game. And what we're doing with the new squadrons, someone comes in, they can find a home, find like-minded players, be helped. It's intrinsic to making the game healthy. So I think doing that is really important. I really like that what we learned with stuff like the Titans and how that galvanized players to go together and do something together, a Thargoid War. What the key learning for me is and the whole team, not just for me, is that whilst the Thargoid War is great and it taught us so much stuff, the Thargoid War is very specific, right? If you like AX combat, that's great for you. And admittedly, you could do search and rescue, and you could do trade and stuff like that. But it's like understanding that what can we do for all players that they can do together and do something. So like now we're looking at like, and I mentioned it in the last live stream, like you look at what we might be doing with squadrons and like with Power Play 2.0 and how it all kind of like one aspect dovetails into the next. So you can now have a common goal. So you could go out and colonize somewhere. You can put your minor faction in there. You can then work together to expand that minor faction. You can have a great big area for it. And then maybe you'll meet another player faction. And who knows what might happen when that comes in. But you've got like, I think for Elite, for me, it's like for the players that are in there, they understand the game and they get it fundamentally on almost every level. For new players, it can be, it's so overwhelming. And I think certainly for and I don't want to come across as like, certainly want to come across as patronizing when I say this, but maybe for younger players, they are kind of trained into, most games will have a very clear progression system. You do this, you do that, and that's the next stage you do. Elite is very much doors open, do what you want. And that can be a bit bewildering to people. I think with the systems we're adding in allows players to sort of be galvanized to an objective. So whether it's support system, go into this, support a minor faction, whatever it's going to be, it gives them that one thing to work towards. So more of that, I think, is healthier for the game.
100% agree. Hey, are we all right to take a little bit of a break now? If that's all right. And more than likely come back with some more questions, but I think it's probably a good point there to just take a little bit of a break and regroup, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's good for me.
Perfect.
Your beer.
Listen here, ladies. While your man is out and about bringing home the bacon, you need to make sure you look your best, which is why we present to you our Lady Shave. It's small enough to fit into your dainty lady hands and releases a perfumed scent as you cut away that ghastly body hair.
Listen here, ladies. Say no to substandard shaving. At Saracen, we believe a woman deserves a shave as good as a man's. Introducing the Panther Clipper for women. Gone are the days of your unruly body hair making you look like a bedraggled alpaca. The Panther Clipper is the biggest, baddest shaver credits can buy. And now, it's available in pink. A shave so smooth you'll need a tighter Dominator suit. The new Panther Clipper Lady Shave from Saracen. It's exactly what you've been asking for. In pink.
You've flown ships at max speed. You've felt the power of the 30 megawatt mining laser. You've experienced the efficiency of the MB4 mining machine.
Wow.
But it leaves every hardcore miner with just one question.
Why can't I get a shave that's that fast, close, and efficient?
Introducing the Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
It's so smooth.
Combining the power of a mining laser with the convenience of a drone.
It's like every hair is targeted by a fighter and destroyed.
Saracen's patented shaving drone attaches to your face at the start of the day. Leave it to do its work, and when you come back to check, your face is shaved.
He's so smooth.
It's like I'm mining my face.
The Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
Now I feel manly.
Saracen Shaving, making shaving an unnecessary adventure.
New from Azimuth Biotech, it's Tickle Me Thargoid. Tickle Me Thargoid is fun for all the family. Teach your little anti-Xeno commander the difference between an Orthrus and a Cyclops, a Basilisk and a Medusa.
Count the hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a Cyclops.
Teach them their weakness and how to exploit them.
Now rip out the hearts. One by one.
I don't want to.
Do it. Using the tool. Do it. Now stomp on its face. Smash its face in.
I've got them.
Tickle Me Thargoid, available now from branches of Lave Toy Depot and other retailers.
Oi, how you doing, my brother? So you run some data and you left your little sidey and you're starting to think about maybe a ship that can punch a little bit harder. Well, the Killback, the one with the little flappy wings, is just what the doctor ordered. It is multi-crew enabled and is the smallest ship with a fighter bay, so you can point and they will do your bidding. Ha! It's got 3 utility mounts, 2 small and 2 medium hard points, plus a whole batch of compartments. So if you want a bit of fun, grab a Killback, my son.
Dreams. Humanity's dreams. The hope to live among the stars. From early times, we've gazed up to the heavens and wondered if one day we could travel there. Maybe even live there. The Brewer Corporation has made this dream a reality, constructing intricate cathedrals of metal, circling numerous planets across thousands of systems in our human bubble. Why stay rooted in a gravity well when you can be free in orbit, free to dream, free to live, and one day to become a commander and be free to blaze your own trail. Brewer Corporation, the first step into the unknown. Come join us. Be free.
Imagine if you were born into a dismal world where routine can drag you down, down, down. Somewhere where the very journey of life could become something that you must humbly suffer. At Sard Kruger, we aim to make every trip, every flight, every dream a moment of magnificence and bliss. We craft and design. We meticulously sculpt each ship so you're free from the drudgery and banality of the masses. Choose from the sublimely simple dolphin, the refined yet roguish orca, or the monumentally modest beluga. Each ship is a masterpiece, a shimmering dream of opulence and taste. Fly a Sard Kruger, because life should run like clockwork.
Before I also went off and died.
Tasty, tasty cannibalism.
I'll be the least likely to die. He died first. Yeah, I've never before discovered plants.
We here at the Lavian Centre of Dubious Science have had enough of those idiotic numbskulls polluting your airwaves with nonsensical utterations, mindless articulations, and downright vacuousness. Our premier linguistic experts, psychologists and scientists have collaborated for years to find the perfect antidote for such silliness, and are proud to present Professor Pebcap's Miracle Elixir. Our closely guarded recipe is designed to target the sensibility triggers nestled within the frontal lobe of the cerebrum and gently caress the cerebellum, meaning that clumsiness, terrible decision-making, lewd comments, and rare but fun rants are a thing of the past. Place 1 drop under the tongue when you wake up and 1 just before sleep, and settle into an elevated state of practicality that's more suited to the responsible commander. Professor Pebcap's Miracle Elixir. We've not tested it yet, but we're sure it'll do the job just fine.
Yeah, I remember in World of
Live and now you're talking.
No,
doesn't listen.
Amazing.
That's his
It's all right. We'll
problem.
let it out.
We're
It'll be
talking about
seamless.
things.
To quote
It'll
from
be
earlier, this
seamless.
is how the sausage is made, folks.
Yeah.
Professional.
And welcome back. We've still got Arthur with us. Hello. And we're going to continue chucking questions in your general direction. I hope you're prepared for this. This question comes from Kilt801, who asks, with the many mysteries that are in the game, is there any sort do you have like a favorite little lore spot or a little lore drop that is you're particularly fond of?
Yeah, but it's a bit self-serving. It's. I think it's the Adamastor, because the Adamastor was the one that where we started off, and we generally knew where we wanted to go with the Adamastor. So that was that, and Caleb Wycherley and the Witch and stuff like that. It started all the way back there. That's probably my favourite. I also really liked and I really enjoyed before I joined Frontier. Black Flight was one of my favourites.
Black Flight was awesome.
Yeah, one of my favourite.
Were you the one who pushed to sort of like have Black Flight still mentioned as part of like the Azimuth saga?
Yes.
Then yeah, that was so fun. It was so fun, like a lovely way to sort of like put those threads back together. The people with the red thread on the corkboards going, oh, there's a link.
Charlie Day meme in real life, but yes, yeah. Black Flight was really fun as a player. It was one of the things that was super cool that it was done and it wasn't telegraphed. You just had to see it, and it became almost like whispers in the. Is this real? Is this actually happening? It's like no, they are about. Yeah, Black Flight was cool.
Yeah. That's very, very cool. I did like that. Have you had any chance? We know that there's a habit of people who leave Frontier get little Easter eggs that are put into the game. Have you had anything along those lines? I'm not asking you to tell us what it is. Just if you have.
No, I haven't, and I wouldn't want to either. Like for me, being part of Elite was enough. So I don't want to put anything in the game that's reference to me, or I wouldn't ask for that. I think just being part of the project was more than enough for me. I think that's it. So I'm not putting any Easter eggs in the game. So
we don't need to look for them, basically.
No, well, not that I'm aware of. If they're put in there, it's not by me, and I have no idea what they're doing. I certainly haven't asked for anything to put into the game. As I said, I was very lucky when we did. I think it was when we did Odyssey. My name was added into like the system bank stuff.
Yeah.
So you might a Tolmie system or whatever, but it's not.
There's bloody loads of them. They're like rabbits.
Because there must be some like Tolmie docs or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a specific system to me. Whatever it was going to be, but yeah.
I'm trying to think now. Is Tolmie one of the names that comes up when you random roll system names? Because I guess they'll just end up being more and more.
Almost definitely. I think I've seen it. I've rolled a lot.
Possibly, yeah.
You want to pay for them, Claire, then you get the name you want first roll.
Yeah, but then I'm taking but then how do I compete with such stations with such amazing names like Aisling Duval's Feet Pics? how could I compete with that when I can just roll and get pink vision after a couple of minutes?
People, right? You give the power to the people. This is what happens.
Well, and outside of the questions, like talking about colonization and giving the power to the people. From a personal note, thank you so much for that being heavily moderated.
Mm-hmm.
Just and feet pics aside, thank you so much for like it and not ending up with like millions of stations which are like A asterisk 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 P at the end. On a personal note, thank you and thank the devs for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So not gonna lie, but yes, they work hard on that sort of stuff. But we don't get them all. We get as much as we can.
Do people report offensive names to you guys?
Yeah.
I assume they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
As a player, this is from Trigon again. As a player, is there a feature that you would most like to see added to the game? This isn't like this is like moonshot sort of thinking rather than. Okay. I'm not going to take this as something that is coming.
Please do not take this as something that's coming. But something I would love to see is more stellar phenomena. I'd like to see comets asteroids. I'd like to see stuff like that. I'd like to see stuff where you could. There's an asteroid that there was a game. It could be a gameplay mechanic where, you had to get behind the tail of the comet or the asteroid, work your way inland. You're going to set amount of time to mine, that sort of stuff. But more stellar phenomena, I'd be more interested in. More stuff for people to explore and find. I think it's cool. But that's from me as a Arthur Tolmie, not as FDev. That's not me saying that's what's coming. I'd love to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are expecting hey, here's a rundown of the next 2 years in as much as we love that.
Yeah.
Of the most recent, of all of the updates that have been in the last 2 years, so we're talking post Thargoid War, let's say that, is there anything that you were surprised by as far as the reaction was concerned?
There's pretty two. So I think one I was really happy with, which was the engineering update, which kind of came out of nowhere. We knew had to be done, and we were really pleased it worked the way we thought it was going to work. I think the one we were most worried about, if I'm totally honest, was system colonization, because we were worried that people wanted it to be more, and we were like, they want it to be putting structures down and building them individually and doing them piece by piece like we do in the Planet games and stuff like that. And we were a bit worried that it was not going to be what people wanted, but we thought we were unsure. So that was the one that surprised us the most by how positive people reacted to it.
Did you by any chance, Arthur, hear Claire and I discussing on Lave Radio the week before you guys did the video on Frontier Unlocked, and we were talking about placing things on planet surfaces, and basically we described exactly what does happen.
Yeah.
With the preface, they will never do this.
Yeah.
And then we went on to describe exactly what you did do. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was wild, because I was streaming Elite on Thursday after the Unlocked, and Alec came into chat and he'd put together this video of us saying exactly what they weren't going to do with the overlay of it happening.
Yeah, I'll be honest, the first time I think Piers showed me the placement of the like a planetary port, and I was like, wow, can we do this in games? Like, yep, we've got to do a new sort of camera for it. And I was like, this is incredible. This will blow people's minds. So he was like,
it's really fun. It's really fun. It's my favourite bit of colonization.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the nods on the fact that it was all made to look like a racetrack the way.
That as well, obviously. That.
I mean, I'm not saying that Simon and Co knew exactly what they were doing when they were making those sites, but I'm just saying.
Some of them have jumps and everything. It's so much fun.
I think you'll find they're just ramps for cargo. They're not supposed to be there for racing. I think it's very immature.
100%. I agree with that. I totally get you. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. So, with Frontier changing to this monthly Unlocked show, as opposed to different shows covering different products, different games, what inspired that move to Unlocked, and has it been as successful as you hoped? That's from Nicey.
So I looked at what we did across our different channels. So there's a couple of things that I think that the most important thing is valuing our customers' time, which I think is the most important aspect of any one of those live streams. And it's like what we actually providing people with when they tune in. So, we could play Planet Zoo as a Let's Play, we could do this, but there'll be better people who are better at it than us playing that game. What do we as a developer, what can we offer, which is news and insight into those products? So it's valuing the customer's time in terms of like, hey, I've spent some money on your product and I'm interested in that product. What are you telling me about the thing I've invested in? So I said, what we should do is a news show where all we do is give nothing but news about all of our products. And it has been incredibly successful for us. To be fair, it's allowed us to get a bit of an identity for Frontier. It's allowed us to consolidate our news. It's allowed our various teams to just focus on providing that snapshot of what's important to the players, which I've said is the most important thing. and I'll go back to when I used to do elite shows, and it was difficult. I remember the times that there's me and Sally or Bruce, and we're struggling to fit a show, and we're like, actually, we're offering nothing to the players. We're giving nothing to you guys that you couldn't do yourselves or do better than what we're doing. So what I thought was really important was actually we could condense the elite segment down to 15, 20 minutes. But if it's just nothing but news, that's super important to those players, and that values their time. So they've tuned in and they want to hear about elite, and all they want to hear is news. So what we try to do is when you tune into the league segment or the Planet Coaster segment or the Planet Zoo segment, all you're getting is pure news. It's here's what's happening, here's what's coming up, here's what's been released, here's what's new to you. And the channel growth has been great. Our views, I think, for last year were in the millions, which was really, really flattering to see. And he'll never watch this because he's a video producer, but I can't speak highly enough of Adam Jinkerson for the amount of work he does behind the scenes to correlate news, assets, trailers. And when I say correlate, he actually works with the various creative departments to make the assets work, put them together. Like he was a very big part of putting together a trailer that Chris Gregory made for Panther Clipper, and a trailer that the creative services team put together. He worked between those two departments to meld them into that one fun trailer we saw with all the tweets coming up, and then suddenly the Panther Clipper appears. He is an absolute workhorse, and that show wouldn't exist without him. But the show itself, I think, has become a bit of a, I'll be honest, like I've been reached out to by many people in the industry. It's become a bit of an industry standout. It's like this is what people want. They want news about their products. They don't want Arthur Tolmie desperately trying to land a Type A FA off. No one wants to see that.
Yeah.
They want to know about what's coming next.
I think I agree. I personally agree with you. I do think there are a handful of Elite Dangerous players, or like a sizable handful of Elite Dangerous players who do miss the opportunity to get in and gank someone in stream, or like you're watching your gameplay. I personally don't. I very, very much appreciate the fact that I can see all of my games that I really, really like in there, and it doesn't feel like there's chaff or things along those lines. So I do appreciate that from a personal note. As a long time follower of Elite, I find it lovely to see what Adam Woods is up to these days. It's lovely seeing Adam Woods on all the time, because I miss him from back in the Elite days.
Can I just say, and I don't mind saying this, the most attractive dev I've ever met in my life. Like, he is like
he's like bright and tallest dad and things.
The first time I've ever met anybody at Frontier that I actually felt tongue-tied about was Adam Woods. I'm not gonna
he's a glorious person.
And I just wilt. I wilt at the knee. oh my lord, Adam. Just not be you. And he's also the loveliest guy as well. He's such a genuine guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam's lovely.
Aside from how attractive Adam is there what is something that you wish more people knew about Frontier? That's from the Jinx Effect.
Wow. Think about if I was to wind it back and keep it specifically about Elite. I think it's what I said earlier on. I wish they knew how much that the team that works on Elite really, really cares about Elite.
Yeah.
And it's not a job for them. Like, they genuinely care about Elite. Through the hard times to now, they care. I wish you knew when Humorous talks about spending hours upon hours doing the rivets in the Panther Clipper Mark II, to Roger Bennett coming in as a fan, again as a fan of Elite, joining FDev to work on his favorite product, to Pateris, who you probably don't even know who he is, but he works so hard behind the scenes to do stuff. They genuinely care about the game. That I've never, again, I can't articulate it well enough. It's not a job for them. It is a job, they get paid, but they genuinely care about Elite. They genuinely care about it, like to their core. That's what I wish people knew.
Now they do.
I hope that those people who are listening, I hope they take away the sincerity in that as well. It's and that harks back to what Alec was saying earlier. Like, whenever whenever we speak to people at like Lave cons or ECMs or PitCons or Christmas parties when we're all half cut and we're all chatting about stuff, it's so obvious how much how passionate there is. I mean, this genuinely feels like pandering at this point, but it just is. It is obvious, and I hope that that continues for outside of your tenure and the next tenure and things like that. That we do still have a Frontier presence at events.
Yeah, I think you will. I think you will. And also, I think it's really important to say that I've been very lucky in the sense that I've been, I don't know, kind of front and center for Elite Dangerous, and it's been a blessing for me as a fan, and then obviously as doing the role that I do. But it's also like it's I do feel not stolen valor, but there's so many more people that work on this product that's not me, and they're still there, and they're still working on it, and they will still continue to work on this like with as much passion as they have before I arrived to after I arrive. I mean, I know that Pierre's got a really hard time about Odyssey, but there's that guy genuinely loves Elite Dangerous and wants it to do well. Like, and he genuinely cares about it. Gautier, who used to work he's now executive producer, but he was part of the UI team. They really care about what they're doing. Roger, Simon, who's been there, like, I guess from the beginning. I think Simon's been there the longest, I want to say. And then you've got the young blood like Max, or you've got Curtis, or you've got Dave that have come in. And I'm missing like loads of people off here, but these are people that I deal with all the time. That passion is not false. They care about the game.
So cool. I could listen to you talk about other people's passion. I genuinely could.
It's good. It's lovely. It's good stuff.
Homburger would like to know, what will you miss the most about working with Frontier, and what will you miss the least?
Wow. Oh, wow.
It's a poison chalice one, isn't it?
It really is. The community, fuck them. They're horrible.
If you're thinking specifically about Frontier the company, then I would say I will miss, first and foremost, I'll miss a lot of the people that I want to work with. That's a huge part of like any place you work. Above that, I will really miss working on Elite, and I genuinely mean that. Like, it's been something I wanted to work on. I'm proud to have worked on. I'm proud to have achieved what I've achieved with Elite. I will miss Elite to my bones. I will miss it. So that I will miss. What won't I miss? Oh wow.
The personal abuse.
I will plead the fifth on that one.
Oh, man.
I may not say. What I miss? I'll probably leave that one. I will miss Elite, and I'll miss the people I work with. If you're talking specifically about Frontier, the community I would like to think I'll always be a part of. So I'm not miss it. I'll always be part of it. So.
Does anyone here, any of the boys, do you have any questions for Arthur before I move on to maybe some slightly sillier ones?
Arthur's answered so many. I had a stupid one, but I don't need to ask it because it's sort of been covered. I was going to ask Arthur what was the one question he wished he'd been asked tonight, but I feel like there's probably not much left.
Oh, blimey. No, I don't know. I don't know what I wish. I didn't come in asking for a Christmas video.
No, I really
questions that weren't asked. So I'll move on from there.
I'm flying a chieftain at the moment. I wonder, would you say that is the chieftain still your daily driver, or has it been replaced?
Don't let me say it. It hasn't been replaced.
No, that's a lie. I just exited out, and he exited out in chat.
So the thing about the chieftain, and it is pure. Like, I understand. It's great for what it does, which is
love the chieftain.
Combat. AX combat is it's great. Outside of that, if I'm being totally honest, if I want to play Elite, I don't use my chieftain. I will often use. Well, now I use the Mandalay and stuff like that. But I will always go back to my Asp Explorer. I will always go back to her because that was the ship that I really learnt Elite in. Even when I was trying to do other stuff, like I tried to do stuff in like the Cobra. I tried to do stuff. No one does anything at Side. Like no one does anything at Side. They just I did the Vulture. I did the Third Lance. Didn't interest me. The Asp Explorer I love because I'm probably at heart I'm an explorer. As much as I want to be Han Solo, I'm clearly not. So I
love the rasp of the asp.
Yeah, the sound is
the rasp of the arp is also pretty impressive when you hear it. Yeah, it's great. I do like the Type 8. I really like Type 8 just because of the way it looks. I love the aesthetic of the Type 8. I actually do quite like the Corsair a lot. And it's not
Team Beak or not Team Beak.
Oh, I'm Beak all the way. All the way. I love it. I love the Beak. Like when I saw it, this is great. For me, it was like you know, like how Star Trek, you see the Klingon bird of prey, it has an identity straight away. And you look at it and you go, I know exactly what that is.
Yep.
So I loved it, and I loved it because it was also sharper lines and what you typically get from a Gutamaya. So I was like, I'm quite happy with this. I didn't like Gutamayas. I've said this before, like they're very rounded and a bit too posh for my liking, which is why I like the Lakon stuff. You know, what's that film with Dudley Moore? They're boxy but good, like the Volvo. Like they're just great. They just do their stuff. But the Chieftain will always have. It's still for me my favorite looking ship in the game. Like I still love her. Like she's still my favorite ship. And I think that may go back all the way back to the Frontier Expo that I watched as a fan. And I remember seeing the Chieftain head on behind. It might have been Ed Lewis actually. He was on stage and had a big old screen. And the Chieftain came up, and I was like, that ship is incredible. Yeah. And I just fell in love with it from there on. That was it.
Yeah, Frontier Expo was great fun, actually.
This one's a bit self-serving then. Do you at the Frontier offices listen to Lave Radio, or have you got commanders lined up with on a dartboard for you to practice on?
No, so generally we will listen and watch as much content that our community makes as possible. But there's a lot of stuff.
Tell me about it.
Often, if we'll listen to a whole show or a whole video, we'll see like a 5 or 10 second clip or something, and we'll be directed to from there to somewhere else and be like, oh, that was said. Why was that said? And there are. I've got to tread carefully here, but no, I've got to be honest. There are creators that we look at and we like, you know what? These guys are just honest. Like they call us out when we do stuff wrong, and they're honest in their criticism towards us. And if they say something, we'll listen and we're like, okay, cool. Let's see what they're saying and see why they're saying it, and then let's look in other sources for if what they're saying is correct. Remember what I said earlier on? It's like it's not always about the people that shout loudest. It's like what are the actual community saying? So they often creators will normally 9 times out of 10 will be a beacon to say, hey, here's a thing that's good, here's a thing that's bad, and you go, okay, cool, let's investigate. Sometimes though, it's not the case. Sometimes someone's just saying something for the sake of saying something, and you have to just check it out.
So that's community management in a nutshell. If if you were to describe, if anyone wanting to get, if there's someone listening right now who's like, hey, Arthur's been a CM for a couple of places now, he's got a good idea of what community management's like, what would you say to someone who is looking to get into that field?
You have to be. No. You know what? That's like the actor thing. Is it? Don't be an actor. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If you want to do it, do it. If you want to be a great community manager, your best trait has to be you have to listen. And when I say listen, you have to listen and really listen. Not listen to argue. You just have to listen to what's being said, and you have to listen to all parties. So you have to listen to what your community is saying. You have to listen to what the dev team is saying. You have to listen to what the publisher's saying. You have to listen to what X is saying, and then you have to find the middle ground and you have to mediate that. That's the trick to being a really good community manager, is listening. It's not necessarily talking, it's listening. And once you've understood the loop, there's a loop which is community to dev, and then dev to publishing, and then dev publishing back to community. That's the loop. And you have to be good at listening, understanding, and knowing what each one of those parties, or what, if you want to talk in-house and be really wanky, it's what the stakeholders are called. You have to understand what those people want to do. So if you want to be a good community manager, you have to know how to listen. And it's not just it's not listening to argue, it's listening to understand.
That's a really interesting insight.
Yeah.
Really interesting insight.
By the way, for that bit of info. So if you want to just PayPal me across, that's
fine.
Right,
okay. duly noted, sure. Is it of the, like, let's go into a completely different tangent. We're known for doing that. Of the new ships that have arrived in the last sort of like up to Panther Clipper and the new ships, you know what I'm talking about. You might be aware of the game called Elite Dangerous. Which is your favorite?
Oof. I think it's the Type 8. I really like Type 8. I said this at PitCon. I know the Mandalay is like the favorite because it's arguably the best exploration ship. I just really like the Type 8. I just like everything about it. I like the aesthetic. I know that I'm a big Aliens fan. You may or may not know this. A lot of reference that ship it comes from Alien or Aliens. So I'm a big fan of Type 8. Is my favorite.
I don't know if you saw it today, Arthur. There's a screenshot that's been doing the rounds a little bit on socials, and it's just a Type 8 landing. But I don't know, it's so stunning. It's kicking up dust, and there's a mountain in the background, and like, of all the ships, I'm sort of with you. There are some gorgeous looking ships that are streamlined and aggressive looking, but man, that Type 8.
There's something about it. There really is.
Share it. I'd love to see it. Do you know what Type 8 for me is? The Type 8 for me, it's the George Lucas mentality. It's this is a and lived in working universe ship, and it just looks like it's been about, and it's got a purpose, and it does stuff, and it obviously the Aliens reference helps, but I really like the fact that it's not trying to be pretty. It's just doing a job. It's a bit like me, really.
Yeah.
I'd be the Type 8.
If you were any ship in Elite Dangerous, what would you be? That's a new question of the week.
Oh no.
Amazing.
So the Mandalay, and then we've got Arthur to Type 8. Yes, okay.
Silas Wesley, speaking of this is such a silly question. Which member of the I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, Sulaco, is that right?
Sulaco.
Is that the ship from Alien? Sulaco?
Sulaco. Get out. You can't know. If you don't know how to pronounce Sulaco, get out.
Look, I've forgiven you for saying that an Anaconda was a Corvette. We're all right. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We've nearly made it to the end of you working for Elite. Which member of the Sulaco's colonial marines do you most identify, and why is it Vasquez?
Wow, you know what? Don't get me. Oh wow, that picture is incredible.
That's lovely.
Sorry, chat can't see that.
Sorry, this picture, that's phenomenal. Is it Vasquez? No, it's not Vasquez. Actually, he's my favorite. Who is my favorite? Of specifically Colonial Marines, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing Hudson.
You know what? It's going to be so cliche, but I really like Hicks. Like, he's so doesn't want to be in charge, takes command. I like Vasquez. She's cool. I like Hudson. He's funny. I don't know. I think it's Hicks. It's Hicks. I'm a big Aliens fan. I've got my I'm a big Aliens fan. I think Hicks is my favorite.
Follow-up question: which Ripley clone do you identify with, and why is it number 7? Again, no idea what this means.
In the bed. And she's playing the praying mantis arms. I don't know. I discount that film entirely because it's terrible. Good. It's a terrible Aliens film. From start to finish, it's awful. So none of the Ripley clones do I like.
Okay.
In my head, there's only 1 and 2. That's it.
You know what?
Yeah, pretty much
Three's
the same.
right. If you know the story behind 3 and how it got made and all the shenanigans, actually 3 it's amazing it got to where it got. But yeah, 1 and 2 are phenomenal films. I don't mind Romulus either. Romulus is fine.
I like
It's
Romulus.
single memory, so it's fine.
It's good. Have you read the book of the original version of 3 that apparently they wanted to do?
For 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
with
the
the
prison planet and things.
Yeah. It was a better story in my opinion.
Oh God, yeah. Why couldn't we have this?
On, Hicks and Newt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great story.
One last question on the aliens thing. Have you played Alien Isolation in VR? And how brown were your pants at the end of it?
So yes, and no. So basically, to touch on this really quickly, I'm a huge Aliens fan. I went to play Alien Isolation at, I think it was like Xbox called it E3 in the UK, where they did E3 and they came back and did like another show in the UK. And this warehouse was basically this giant warehouse, and everything was white walls, right? And it was well lit. And there was one big TV with a sofa, and I was like, if ever I'm going to play this game and not be scared, now's the time. And I sat down in front of this sofa and I popped the headset. And as soon as I popped the headset on, everything about me failed to work. I couldn't coordinate. I was scared. The lady from Creative Assembly was like, you need to leave the room. I was like, I don't want to leave the room. I left the room. I spent 10 minutes under a table, and the alien walked past. And I didn't realize, because it has the functionality that if your mic's active and you make a noise, the alien hears the noise in your mic. And of course, I'm in an expo. So me hiding under a table is doing jack all to hide the fact that the whole expo is making a noise. So this alien dives on the table and grabs me, and I shrieked, and the whole event sort of turned around to this massive guy sort of scared out of his look. And so I did an event for Alien Isolation. We had a cinema, we had Tony Marines, we had an alien coming along. It was great. I've recently bought it's the Alien game on Quest, and it's the VR Aliens game, and my wife watched me play it for an hour, and I haven't gone back to it because I was so sweaty after I played it for an hour. I was like, I can't play this game anymore. My heart rate, I will die. I'm too old to play this game. It will kill me. So yes, I played Alien Isolation. No, I won't play it anymore in VR.
Yes, yeah. Apparently, it's my kids thinks it's very funny when when they watch me trying to play that game, and yes,
the attention to detail in Alien Isolation is
phenomenal.
So good.
Even to the point where they took the video, what was going to be on the screens, and then re-recorded it off of a VHS to make it look authentic.
I didn't know they did that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's genuine understanding of like what they're making. Fantastic stuff.
That's so
what's your favorite video game of all time?
Ooh. Wow.
Really? I was just expecting you to tell me it was XCOM straight away.
So yes, so there's 2. XCOM is the one I normally go to, and it's the it wasn't called XCOM, it's called UFO, Enemy Unknown. Back then it was 1995. I learned to play that with friends at school, and it was like but I think my favorite game of all time, probably without getting too emotional, was Monkey Island, because it was a game that I played with my dad, and my dad taught me how to solve puzzles, and it's a very sweet memory for me. So I played The Secret of Monkey Island, and I played it on the Amiga, which meant if you move screen, you had to swap discs 17 times to go back. So very frustrating if you've forgotten to pick something up from the previous screen. So Monkey Island or XCOM. XCOM is a huge part of my life. Like I played a lot of XCOM.
For the Amiga, I had to have 3 disk drives. So you used to get double banks of disk drive you could plug into the back of the Amiga, so you could have 3 discs in at once, so you didn't have to disk swap so much. That's before they invented hard drives properly.
I remember playing all the LucasArts in their golden era, like the Secret of Atlantis or the Fate of Atlantis, sorry, and it was 11 discs, and you just knew that it was going to be an absolute chore to play through it. It was going to be a great game, but it was going to be an absolute chore to play through it.
And along comes Frontier with an entire galaxy on 1 disc.
Yeah, but it was Elite. Yeah, it was Frontiers, and it's Elite 2 Frontier.
Yeah,
and got the box, and I've said this before. I opened the box, and it had this big blue map of like the star systems you could access, and I was just in love. I was just in love with it. I was like, that's it. And I was terrible at that game. I couldn't play it. I was awful at it. I had no idea what I was doing. My dad couldn't work it out. But I don't know what it was. It was just the map. Just that was it. I was in love. I was in love with the game. And I missed that. That's what I miss about modern games. I missed that about modern box games. When I was a kid, you got a game and it came with like a great big manual, a story, a map, loads of paraphernalia. It's what you'd effectively say would be in a special edition nowadays.
Here.
But,
I'm all for that. I loved all that stuff.
That was what you used to get. You used to get all this really cool stuff in a box for 30 quid.
Now you have to pay like 200 quid to get a special edition. Yeah.
My brain can't work on inflation, how it works, but I guarantee you it's not worth that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is. I'm not going to say. You will never see me defend it. I'm just saying that, like, when I was a kid, 30 quid would get you a box copy game, a manual with like 300 pages, probably a poster, probably some post-its, probably something else, something really cool, and like a badge, and that'd be 30 quid. And that was really cool.
As now an Elite Dangerous Commander of Leisure, well, very nearly an Elite Dangerous Commander of Leisure, are you pledging to a power? And if so, who?
Well, do you know what? I've never pledged to a power. I didn't even do it for the all the perks. That's kind of like why I fell in love with Elite. I wanted to be Han Solo. I wanted to be beholden to nobody. So probably not.
It's not going to do. No. I put power play in the game. It's really good, but I'm not going to do it.
But it's just, I've said before, like, how you play the game is how you play the game. I think Elite for me was the freedom to do what you want to do, and I was like, I don't want to be. I work for someone now. If I was going to play this game, I don't want to work for anyone. I'm a commander, which is like a rarity in the Elite universe, so I'm already like a different class. So I don't want to be beholden to anyone. So I just do my own thing and blaze my own trail.
Nicely worked in.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
How? I don't know if you're good. I don't know if this is something that you're going to be able to share. But is there any point in the history of you being involved with Elite? Has there been any point where it's been like close to talking about blazing your own trail? Has it ever been there been a situation where it's become close to maybe veering to I'm going to say open only. I'm going to say the words and just let them fester there and say, has there ever been a moment where that was even slightly a possibility?
I'm trying to think, to be honest. Not really. We kind of looked at as I said before, there's some very vocal voices in the community, but looking at stats, not really. No. Like it's, I don't think so. No, personally, I don't think that there has been a case for that. I think it's a problem with Elite, and I'll be honest. It's that we've kind of created ourselves. We've made this two-tiered kind of like play it offline, still play the game, and you're also into people that are online. So I get the frustrations, but I don't think it's been close to going open only since I've been there.
Interesting. Awesome. Good to know. Takoso, like I will say, I haven't really included these in the comments, but almost every single question was prefaced with like this absolute shitload of love and just thanks for being awesome and being like being just like how much of a change your presence within Elite has had an impact had on many players in the game. So I don't feel like I should be the person to like thank you for that, but I'm going to, and it's going to sound really saccharine, but the amount of comments that were like, thank you for everything that you've done and all of that sort of stuff, I feel it's remiss of me not to hand that over. Take that with what you will.
No,
Takoso's asked what you're doing next. If you can share anything yet, or when you will share.
I will share when I can share, but I can't share at the moment.
Are you excited about it? Is it cool? Is it a good thing?
I'm deciding. So it will be. What I do next will be cool. But I have not. It was the time for me to go. Is essentially for me. But when I can share what it is, I will share. I don't want to, and the thing is, I don't want to make it about what I do. So like, it's never the same way with Unlocked, right? It's not about the people; it's about the product. It's about the communities that make it. So I'm very, very flattered. Like, I can't tell you how much that means to me as a player who came in specifically for Elite to hear what you just said. It means a huge amount. I also can't take all that credit because there's so many people that are involved in that product that have done what they've done with it. But I will be excited to do the next challenge, whatever that might be. I will be excited for it.
When you say it's time for you to leave Elite, is that just from like there's so much there's so much I've done, there's not a progression here? Or do you think, hey, look at this legacy I've left and now I'm going to move on to something else? Is that the kind of, or look at where the game is kind of thing, or where everything is?
Where I wanted to get Elite to where I wanted it to be, and I think it is where I wanted it to be, and I'm very, very happy with that, and I'm really happy with I said before, like what Zach's doing and the rest of the team are doing, and please, when I say this isn't I got it to where it wants to be. I'm very happy to have been part of that team that have got Elite to where it is right now, as to where we saw it, maybe 5 years ago. And I think now is the time for me to, life is all about challenge equals progression. So I have to find a new challenge, and I'm really proud to leave Elite where it is, and I'll be able to look back at this and say, hey, we had some wild times, but we had some great times, and when I left, it was great, and it will go on to be even better. So I'm very excited for that.
And you're never going to say anything other than this, but the game's in good hands. Question mark.
Yeah. No, look, I've said this before. Like, Zach is kind of like he's my Darth Vader to my Palpatine. Like he does so much stuff.
So he basically throws you down the.
That's what I'm going. There's too many stairs I can be thrown down by Zach.
I'm going to throw you out the door at the end.
Yeah, no, Zach generally gets it. He understands it. The team that are working Elite, it's been the same team working it for the last 5 years. They care. They're passionate. Me going, as much as I will miss part of that team. It's bigger than me, as it should be. Right. That's what I'm very pains to say. Like, it should always be bigger than the person that is perceived to be the face of that product, and that's what I'm most proud about, because it will survive without me, and it will thrive without me. But that's great because the whole team working on it. So yes, it's absolutely in safe hands. And of course, I would say that. Also, I'm leaving, so I could lie, but I won't. I'm not lying. Like, I'm going, and Zach, it could be in better hands with Zach.
Excellent. Good to know. We'll get Zach on the show as well, and he'll confirm that. I'm sure. Speaking of devs who no longer work on the project, and we're glad to see the back of them, Darren Hallel wrote in and said, he says, can you ask Arthur if it's time to do the thing at the place that we discussed? He'll know, and if he plays dumb, no, he's lying. Not me, though. I definitely wouldn't imply any lies or thoughts of conspiracy into the fine host of this radio show with listeners.
Oh, how to answer this? I might just no, I don't know what he's talking about.
You know you're lying. There was another question that I haven't included because I just thought it was silly. We're going to add it now. I would love to talk to you about a triangle-shaped M&M. Now I've got you.
Yeah.
Now I've got you. The fuck, dude.
You bloody wind-up merchant. I mean, jeez.
There were three, at one point in it was an Elite specific show, so we're going back some. But at one point, Bruce put 3 M&Ms and a triangle on the table. And nothing ever came of it because it was just Bruce sort of like stimming a little bit and just like placing stuff because he wasn't saying anything. He was just keeping his hands busy. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
But the community went batshit.
Yeah, I know, because they were seeing. It was like the numbers, Mason. The numbers. It was like the triangles, Mason. The triangles everywhere. And I was seeing all these the triangle here. Look at this. It's triangles everywhere.
Can I ask for confirmation that was nothing?
The troll in me wants to say I can't confirm or deny, but that was just Bruce making a triangle because he was so he wasn't doing anything particular. There wasn't a triangle. There's no triangle conspiracy. I'm very, very sorry.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. That's the most important question you've answered.
Of course, Psychic, he would say that, wouldn't he?
No. No.
Or is there?
So what is it like in Wrexler then? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that's a different story, which I will never. We're all sworn secrecy on, so no.
I thought that was locked away in David Braben's office, but
well, Raxler. Yeah. Raxler's the friends you make along the way. We all know this. Oh my gosh. That's the end of my questions that I have. Thanks to all of and unlike the other ones that we've done. Thank you so much to everyone who reached out for questions for Arthur. I don't have words, mate. You know.
I guess everybody from Lave Radio would just like to wish you good luck. Just personally, it does feel as when you were being a CM, it did feel that you had elites back, especially because even though we've had tough times with the content drought and obviously Odyssey, but we always felt that when you were coming across, you came across as genuine and that you believed in the game, and we were, I think, all grateful that you did. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I said this, and actually, if you watched back when I said goodbye on Unlocked, I very nearly choked up because I didn't want to make a thing of it, which is why I only said a little line. It has been an honor to work on Elite Dangerous, and I mean that. I don't mean that in hyperbole or any nonsense. I'm a fan to work with that team, to work with some great people, and to do some amazing stuff with Elite. I couldn't have asked for better, a better 5 years. Yeah, it's been tough, but actually seeing what Elite's done and going on to has been fantastic. To have a hand in or to be part of some of the greatest moments that I've experienced as a player and also as someone that works at FDev has been phenomenal. I will take with this forever an experience in my life that I'm super proud of and super privileged to have been part of. And that's in no shortage because of the amount of love and support the community given me and the entire team and the dev team. Yeah, we've had our moments, but if I was to put in percentages, 99% of this has been the greatest experience being part of this. So I'm very, very sad to say goodbye, but I'm very excited to be able to get back in my cockpit and just go back into the black and enjoy games I used to.
Brilliant.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Second what everyone else has said.
Well, I guess that if everybody else is waiting for what we normally do in this show, I'm afraid you'll have to wait till next week because we have run out of time.
Community Corner was going to be awesome as well. Oh, never mind.
Sorry.
No, this
anyway,
was way
let's
better,
talk about
Arthur.
everything that's
Way
shit
better.
about Squadrons. Yeah.
Do you say shit about Squadrons?
100%, Arthur. Tune in next week.
Spoilers.
Oh dear. Oh, okay then. So unless anybody has any other business,
Hey, can I just I just want to very quickly nip in with this slightly other businessy type thing then, and it will be the only thing in the show notes. Consider raising money for special effect by taking part in the 10K Your Way challenge this July. There has been a special call out to any Elite Dangerous commanders who wish to take part in this. Special Effect are an amazing charity. I know that if you're wanting to stream there, you might be able to get in touch with Frontier, and there are special effect skins that might be able to be provided as part of giveaways and things like that. If you want to do something along those lines, it is is the hashtag 10K your way. There is a link to the Discord in the show notes. Suggestions include flying 10,000 light years. I can't imagine anybody wanting to do that. Defeating 100 combatants, which I say defeat 10,000 combatants, and earning 10 million credits or taking 10 gorgeous screenshots, to which I say take 10,000 gorgeous screenshots. But for more information or to get involved, there is a special effect Discord, which I will put in the show notes. It's going to be the only thing in the show notes. But I wanted to share it today.
Really quick, check out Daisy Bell on Blue Sky because they're doing a really cool thing right at the moment.
A really cool thing with Pride that we will definitely talk about next week.
Good, but it's topical, so
100%.
Right. Well, if that's the case, we'll do a quick shout out. So our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes to do CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We'll also give a shout outs to the other Elite Dangerous podcasts. That's the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well. The wonderful Loose Screws, and if you speak French,
Colin, I let the funky music do the talking.
which means that they were mentioning the Elite Dangerous podcast, and they also do these wonderful missions. To go check that website. Now, following this, we do have a GalNet News Digest as provided by the wonderful Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd just like to thank to everybody who's turned up in the Twitch chat today, and the in-game commanders. I don't know if we've got a list of how many people turned up today.
Hang on, I'm checking. Yes, in-game commanders from the Chris Mock 4, Mert, Osbert, Katiana, Interfering, JT, Evo Flash, Frozen Satsuma, Wendell Stein Stella, Happy Moon Monkey, and Cybrius.
Lovely. Of course, special thanks goes to Commander Tokuso, Jay Antrax, and Ellen Stroud, who all create music that we use in this show. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find all the contact links in the Contact Us menu section of the laveradio.com website. Do let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Alec.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you sincerely, Arthur, and good night all.
Thanks to Claire.
Thanks, Colin. Thank you, Arthur. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks to Ben.
Thanks, Colin. And I really want to say something rude to Arthur, but I can't. So thank you,
You've
Arthur.
done enough, mate.
Come on.
Thank you so much, Benny Arth. There we go.
And Arth can be nasty to you back, which is wonderful.
I have
Special
nothing to love. I've nothing to love.
That's right, take the high road. Just take the high road. Right, and thanks to today's tech specialist, the wonderful Apathis, or Apachris, or a packet of crisps, or whichever one he wants to choose. So, until next time, Commanders, fly safe. And if you can do that, thanks, Alf.
Thank you. Love you all.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word. Space can be done. I'm going to see the galaxy.
Nice. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
GalNet News Update, 3rd of June 3311. There are renewed claims that Salvation survived the Proteus wave disaster, and test subject D2 plans to hunt him down. Seojin A, Special Advisor to Aegis on Thargoid Communications, is to leave her post to avenge those killed by Dr. Caleb Wycherley, also known as Salvation. This is despite the general understanding that Salvation died aboard the Bright Sentinel megaship in HIP 22460 on the 9th of August 3308, following the disastrous misfiring of the Proteus Wave Doomsday weapon. The Thargoid Whisperer is believed to be the only survivor of the human vivisection experiments conducted by Salvation scientists at Oaken Point in HIP 26176 in their secretive attempts to allow human control of Thargoid Scout spacecraft. The probe inserted into Seo's brain was intended to allow her to interface with the alien ship, but it also allowed her to listen into Thargoid communications, and latterly allowed the Thargoids to invade her mind and find out about the significance to humanity of the Sol system and planet Earth in particular. She remains convinced that Salvation's consciousness survived the death of his physical body and remains committed to tracking him down, with the intention to avenge the nearly 200 test subjects who died at the hands of Azimuth Biochemicals at Oaken Point, and everyone who suffered and died as a result of the firing of the Proteus wave. In a statement, Aegis explains that Seo has spent the past 6 months recovering, following the medical emergency in October last year, which was caused by the Thargoids invading her consciousness. They acknowledge the immense sacrifice she underwent to provide us with intelligence on the invading aliens, and they make clear that she chose to leave the Aegis megaship Oren Miller in Duamta of her own free will, and that she remains welcome to return whenever she likes. Professor Albert Tesreau betrays concern for the safety of their former advisor. Seo issued a personal statement to accompany the Aegis press release. Her words are read by one of our producers.
After Titan Koshiho exploded in Seoul, I had my best night's sleep in years. No sounds in my head to keep me awake, no images behind my eyes. The Thargoids have left us, hopefully forever. I did my best to translate Thargoid thoughts during the war, and people told me this data was useful, but I blame myself for the attack on Sol. The importance of Earth was pulled from my memories against my will. Albert Tesreau helped me recognise that the implant in my brain was placed there by Salvation, also against my will. During Project Seraph, 197 people died at Oaken Point in HIP 26176. I'm the only survivor of those experiments that Salvation oversaw. Many will say I'm crazy, but I believe Salvation exists beyond his physical death in HIP 22460. I owe it to those 197 souls and to every victim of his Proteus wave failure to find Salvation and shut him down forever.
Aegis has not yet responded to questions from the press about whether it also believes that Salvation's consciousness may have survived.